Mr. Gregory.
Chairman Hickenlooper, Ranking Member Blackburn, and members of this subcommittee. I'm Sam Gregory, Executive Director of Witness, a human rights organization. Since 2018, Witness has led a global effort, Prepare Don't Panic, to inclusively prepare society for deepfakes and synthetic media technologies, and more recently, generative AI. Now the moment to act has come. Increased volumes of easily made, realistic synthetic photos, video, and audio, more targeted and personalized, is a paradigm shift. Alongside creative and commercial benefits from generative AI, there are already harms in the US and globally with disproportionate impacts on at-risk groups. Women are targeted with non-consensual sexual images. Simulated audio scams are proliferating, as are AI-generated child sexual abuse images. Claims of AI generation are used to dismiss critical human rights and journalistic content that is real. Text-to-image tools perpetuate discriminatory patterns, and creatives see their work used for training AI models without consent. As you develop legislation, first, consult broadly with the communities most impacted by AI in the US and globally. Given differential impacts, a resilient approach grounded in civil and human rights will best future-proof legislative responses to AI. Elections are poised to be deeply influenced by generative AI, and recent polls find the American public is fearful of its impact. Under-resourced newsrooms and community leaders are under pressure and do not have access to reliable tools that can detect deepfakes and AI-manipulated content. It is also unreasonable to expect consumers to spot deceptive yet realistic imagery and voices, guidance to look for the six-fingered hand or spot virtual errors in a Pope in the puffer jacket do not help in the long run. I believe that Congress should think about AI governance as a pipeline of responsibility that is distributed across technology actors, from the foundation models to those designing and deploying software and apps, and to platforms that disseminate content. This should be supported by testing, auditing, transparency, and pre- and post-impact assessment. Within that, solutions that help show the provenance of AI and, if desired, human-generated content can use this pipeline responsibility to bring transparency to consumers. This may take the shape of direct visible or indirect machine-readable disclosure around how media is made, created, and/or distributed. Approaches like this are included in the White House voluntary commitments and in the EU's AI Act. As I note in my written testimony, visible watermarks and direct disclosure have use cases, for example, potentially in marking election-related materials, but they are easily removed and not nuanced for the complex production era that we are about to enter. Invisible watermarks at the pixel and dataset level are another option. Cryptographically signed metadata like the C2PA standard show the creation, production, and distribution process over time, which is important as we increasingly intermingle AI and human-generated. Approaches like this also allow creators to indicate how and if their content may be used for training AI models. These disclosure approaches are not a punitive measure to single out AI content, nor indicate deception. This provenance data only provides additional information, signals, but does not provide any truth to the content. To safeguard constitutional and human rights, approaches to provenance could meet some core criteria. They should first protect privacy. Personally identifiable information should not be required. Knowing the how of AI-based production is key, but does not require correlating the identity of who made the content or instructed the tool. Allowing redaction is also key, particularly when combining AI-based media with other human-generated media. Secondly, opt-in. While disclosure indicating content was AI-generated could be a legal requirement in certain cases, this shouldn't be a requirement for all provenance tools, especially those for non-AI content, which should always be opt-in. And thirdly, standards should be developed attentive to potential authoritarian misuse in a global context. Another response complementary to content provenance is after-the-fact detection for content believed to be AI-generated. From Witness's experience, the skills and tools to detect AI-generated media remain unavailable to the people who need them most: journalists, rights defenders, and election officials domestically and globally. It remains critical to support federal research and investment in this area to close this detection, access, and equity gap. To conclude, I encourage you to incorporate broad consultation with groups disproportionately experiencing existing harms and AI impacts into upcoming legislative approaches. to go beyond risk-based and voluntary approaches and support a rights-based framework for action, and finally, to support research and legislation on standardized watermarking and provenance that takes into account global implications and centers privacy and accessibility. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.